Your bank account isn't really yours anymore. It's just a number some app decides you can access. Look, I'm not trying to sound dramatic here, but we need to talk about something that's happening right under our noses. Every time you tap your phone to pay for coffee, or split rent with Venmo, or get your paycheck deposited instantly, you're participating in a system that's quietly shifting who actually controls your money. And here's the thing, most of us don't even realize it's happening. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly who's gaining power over your financial life through digital payments, and more importantly, what specific risks you're taking on without knowing it. Because right now, with rent due, groceries costing more than ever, and most Americans living paycheck to paycheck, the last thing you need is to wake up one day and find out you can't access your own money. This matters right now because we're at this weird moment where cash is basically dead, but the systems replacing it aren't actually designed to protect you. They're designed to be convenient, and convenient isn't the same as safe. 10 years ago, if you had $100, you had $100. It was in your wallet, in your hand, under your control. Today, that $100 is probably split between your checking account, your Cash App, maybe some sitting in PayPal, and honestly, it's not really there at all. It's data. It's permission to access data. And the companies managing that data, they're not banks. Well, some are, but most of the apps you use every day, Venmo, Cash App, Apple Pay, even newer things like buy now, pay later services, they exist in this weird gray area. They hold your money, they move your money, but they don't always have to follow the same rules actual banks do. Let me break down what's really changing here, because this isn't about technology being cool, it's about power. First, there's the freezing problem. With a traditional bank, if they freeze your account, there are regulations, there's a process, there's usually a reason tied to actual law. But with payment apps, their terms of service basically say they can freeze or close your account for almost any reason. And people find this out the hard way, right when they need to pay rent, or buy groceries, or cover an emergency car repair. I'm not saying this happens all the time, but it happens enough that you should know about it. Someone flags a transaction as suspicious. Maybe you're selling something online and it looks weird to their algorithm, and boom, your access is gone. And getting it back? That's a customer service nightmare that can take days or weeks. Second, there's the fee creep. Digital payments started out looking free and simple, but now instant transfers cost money. Using a credit card instead of a bank account costs money. Businesses are passing on processing fees to customers. The convenience has a price tag, and it's growing. When you're already stretched thin, those $2 fees add up fast. But here's what most people miss. The biggest shift isn't about fees or freezes. It's about surveillance and control. Every single digital payment you make is tracked. Every single one. And that data is being collected, analyzed, and sold. Not just by the payment companies, by data brokers, advertisers, even insurance companies trying to figure out if you're a good risk based on where you spend money. Now, you might be thinking, okay, so what? I'm not doing anything illegal. And that's fair. But think about it like this. What happens when your health insurance company knows you buy cigarettes every week based on your payment history? What happens when a landlord can see your full spending pattern before deciding whether to rent to you? What happens when an algorithm denies you credit because you shop at certain stores or live in a certain zip code? This isn't conspiracy theory stuff. This is already happening in different forms. And the more we move away from cash toward apps, toward digital everything, the more power we hand over to the companies and systems analyzing that data. There's another piece to this that doesn't get talked about enough. About 5 to 6% of American households are unbanked. They don't have a traditional bank account. Millions more are underbanked, meaning they have an account but still rely on check cashing services or payday loans. For these people, the shift to digital payments isn't convenient. It's a barrier. You can't use Venmo without a bank account or card. You can't get a job that only pays through direct deposit if you don't have an account to deposit into. You can't access a lot of government benefits without jumping through digital hoops. So while digital payments make life easier for some of us, they're literally locking other people out of the financial system. and that gap is getting wider. The real problem starts when we stop thinking of money as something we own and start thinking of it as something we're allowed to access, because that's the shift that's happening. You don't hold your paycheck anymore. You don't hold cash. You hold access, and access can be revoked. And when the power to revoke that access sits with a handful of tech companies or payment processors or even the government through those systems, that's a different kind of financial reality. So where does this leave you? I'm not saying don't use digital payments. That's not realistic. And honestly, it's not even practical for most people anymore. But you need to understand what you're signing up for. Here's what you can actually do. Don't keep all your money in one app. Spread it out. Keep at least some cushion in a traditional FDIC-insured bank account, because those protections actually matter. Read the terms of service for the apps you use. I know, it's boring, but at least skim the section about account freezes and closures. And if you can, keep some cash on hand for emergencies. Not a ton, just enough to get by for a few days if something goes wrong. The point isn't to panic. The point is to stay aware. Digital payments aren't going anywhere. They're only going to get more embedded in how we live. But the more you understand who controls the system, the better choices you can make about how you use it. Real security comes from understanding the rules, even when they're designed to benefit someone else more than you. If this changed how you think about where your money actually lives, hit that like button. And if you want more honest breakdowns of how the financial system really works, not how it's supposed to work, but how it actually does, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.